Transitioning right now, we've been talking a little bit about college football. Yeah, you're going to blink your eyes. I guarantee you right now, you're going to blink your eyes, and it's going to be the start of college football season, and it's going to be so glorious and so great. The guy that we're hinging a lot of our hopes on this year, let's be honest, Vlad, Carson Beck. Carson Beck balls out, finds ways to win. We're good. Carson Beck doesn't ever fully recover, doesn't really play that well. I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe Luke Nickel, freshman quarterback. I don't know. We'll see. Mario Cristobal, though, talked to our dude Joe Rose yesterday and gave some very encouraging news on QB1.
Yeah, he's right. He's been thrown for weeks. I believe he'll be cleared completely either by today or Sunday because we begin our team workouts on Monday. But he's been ripping it, and he looks good, and he'll have zero limitations. So, and he's done a great job integrating himself with his teammates, not being able to go through spring ball. And at the same time, we recognize the fact that he's had a lot of reps at some high level and some high level games. So we'll be able to catch him up fairly quick.
I will say this, Mario Cristobal, he has been on the biggest of big stages, and he is not going to shrink away from the spotlight. You feel as though, and once again, he's been injured, Vlad, so he hasn't had as much time in the spring practice. But remember last year, and once again, I hate to compare to Cam Ward. Cam Ward came, and immediately you knew Cam Ward was in charge of this team. He was sitting there naming each and every one of his offensive linemen and his running backs by their first name. He was making videos and yelling at people and firing people up. Carson Beck, I've seen him get his car stolen and sit at basketball games, and I don't even think he's dating Haley Cavender anymore, right? I'm getting no's from everybody. I'm trying not to get too much of his personal life, but I haven't seen a lot of team building. Once again, he has been injured, and but I haven't seen a lot of team building from Carson Beck. I've seen a lot of Carson Beck, but I haven't seen a lot of team building. But I will tell you this, Vlad, I was asking a couple people, like, what does he have to do to prove that he was worth the $4 million or so that we're spending to get him in the transfer portal? And
easy, do what Cam Ward didn't do. Get you to the playoffs.
If you average 100 yards a game passing, but you get to the playoffs,
just get them to the playoffs. That's all.
And that's nice to know. If you're Carson Beck, that's where the line is drawn. It's not this, well, if he has this many yards or does this. No, you get to the playoffs. Your time here at Miami was a success. You win some playoff games, even more so. Money well spent. Let's go. Carson Beck, though, they're saying he's been throwing for weeks, looking crisp, looking good, doing some team building. Should be 100% clear. He had that surgery. Remember, what was it, the SEC championship game where he tore it? It was an SEC championship game against Texas, who they beat, by the way. Got number 2 overall seed. People forget about that. They were like, Carson Beck had a bad year last year. I was like, well, wasn't really that bad, to be honest with you. He had a really good season. His numbers were a little bit down, but there was also a lot of drops and everything involved in that. Mario Cristobal, though, giving us a vote of confidence. I'm okay with it. I'm pretty confident in Carson Beck.
I mean, you have to be.
Oh, yeah, you really have to be now. But look, he did it at Georgia. Numbers don't lie. Wins don't lie. He's done it at a big-time school. Now, if he was coming from somewhere, and I'm not trying to knock schools, but let's just say if Wichita State had a football team. If he was coming from, like, Wichita State, I'd be like, okay, let's pump the brakes a little bit. But he was at Georgia in the SEC, winning, playing big games, big-time players. Right now, I just got to ride with him, and I got to believe in him. My only skepticism would be that he doesn't fully recover from his elbow surgery. That's the only thing I'd have to worry about. And your first game's against Notre Dame, national runner-up.
I think if he wins against Notre Dame, everybody will be happy. But listen, the fact of the matter is he has 2 games early that if he impresses, he's going. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm saying, wow. Yeah, you're right.
He has 2 games early. If he wins, he's going to be loved. You beat Notre Dame, you beat Florida at home. They're gonna love your ass. They're gonna be like, why aren't you mentioning the Heisman? Why isn't he not getting all this accolades and admiration? You do that, you're good. You do that, somebody might want to spin around the block.
Are you making a mention to social media?
Fam, if Miami beats Notre Dame,
let's say,
and however,
impressively beats Notre Dame,
and he's unbelievable
on national TV with the whole world watching.
Labor Day weekend,
yeah, buddy, 7:30 national TV and here on 560 WQAM.
Our boy Carson Beck is gonna get a lot of pecks. How about that? Like that's what. Yeah.
Then you get Bethune-Cookman the next week.
Easy breezy.
Then you get South Florida.
Local game. It'll be good for like a half.
Then it gets interesting. Florida, and then a bye week, Florida State.
You win these 3 games against your Fam, how crazy is the schedule that you play your 3 biggest rivals within the first 5 weeks?
It's 5 or 6 weeks. Yeah, first 5 weeks. You're right. With a bye thrown in there.
Right, but like your first 5 games against your 3 biggest rivals.
If he can impress through those games,
fam,
they're going to be calling for Heisman Trophy everywhere.
I think both sisters will spin around the block. How about that?
Wow, he could have his pick.
Yeah, because that name's gonna ring. The city's gonna be lit. The city's gonna go crazy. Mario's gonna be Mario's 4th season.
Mm-hmm.
You will get now. Everybody will fully understand the play, what he's trying to build, and everything like that. And you're gonna realize that the portals really helped UM.
Pushing all the right buttons, it would
and
seem
they're pushing
like.
all the right buttons. But Carson Beck, that's all he's got to do. He's just got to win. Look, play impressive, just win. First of all, just win.
You get through Florida State, and we told you Notre Dame, that's no easy task. Bethune-Cookman, that'll be a good game. South Florida, good game. Florida State. You get through those games, and you got to feel as though just don't make mistakes. You got Louisville. We know Louisville's decent. Stanford, not really. They've got their coaching issues. SMU, they had a great year last year. Can they repeat it this year? Syracuse, they're tricky, but
they lost their quarterback.
Virginia Tech and Pitt.
If you really look at that schedule, the top half is the toughest part of the schedule.
You get through Florida State, you got to start feeling really good about your chances.
You have to, because you're going to have 3 major wins, like 3 wins that you know, when the committee's discussing, you're like, nah, they beat Notre Dame, they beat Florida, they beat Florida State.
If you're undefeated and you beat Notre Dame, Florida State, at that point, you have to be a top
3 team.
I would say
top 5,
yeah,
just to save ourselves.
And if we're saying that Florida State has a bounce back year, and Florida, you know, at the end of the year showed some promise, you got to be a top 5 team.
Well, you got to figure that the reason why I'm saying that is because Florida probably be ranked when you play them. It just depends on where they're ranked, and then how they finish the season. But I put it this way: I expect Notre Dame, the University of Florida, and Florida State University to be ranked at the end of the regular season of the college football regular season. So therefore, Miami would have established a great record, and if they win, I feel like they should be the favorite to win the ACC this season. If they win the ACC, then you know you're in the college football playoffs. That's it.
And even if it seems like the committee, at least in the 1 year that we had, will take both teams that make the ACC championship game,
that's the other thing. If you suffer a loss, you suffer a stumble, but you beat Notre like that, those wins are going to mean something.
Absolutely.
Like, those are 3 big marquee games, and if you win that, it's going to have a lot of impact.
And then you go into that ACC championship game, you take Dabo Swinney and Clemson down.
That can happen.
That'd be nice.
And then now you have 4 legit wins.
So now you're really cooking.
And depending on, we don't know where these other teams, some teams might be surprises, some teams might have a bad year. So you don't know who's going to be the surprise team that you have on your schedule, that if it's a win, that might help your case even more.
Yeah. Man, I didn't know their schedule was so top loaded.
Yeah,
man.
no, dog. When I looked at it, I'm like, wow, they really blessed UM with some good home games this season. It's out the gate.
Only thing you got to worry about, the last 2 regular season games
is on the road.
Virginia Tech and Pittsburgh.
Virginia Tech's always tough, and Pittsburgh always gives me one. Fam.
It's just that's the stretch run.
Why every Thanksgiving they always got to go to Virginia Tech or Pittsburgh? One of those 2 places. They end the year either at Pittsburgh, mostly Pittsburgh. They always like to put UM in Virginia and Blacksburg around Halloween time for that Corey Miller?
Corey Miller?
Whatever, that defensive tackle from Virginia Tech at that time when UM was number 2 in the country and got their ass handed to them by Virginia Tech.
Yeah, I remember that.
But yeah, we always end the season in Pittsburgh, bro. Always. Thanksgiving weekend, you could put it down, 12 p.m., UM versus Pittsburgh.
How they like it, man. The schedules, schedules. But hey, take care of this business early in the season, and then don't stumble. You could really be cooking, Carson. Carson could be cooking.